Shabbat Shalom. I want to name aloud the question that I know is on many of our minds. Does my vote matter? Does it really matter if I vote? Does it make a difference? This is a highly consequential election. You don't need to hear me tell you why. You've already heard from our now viral sensation, Rabbi Cosgrove. But today, along with Jewish Voters Unite, is designated Get Out the Vote Shabbat. And this question about whether our vote really matters is on many of our minds. Not only is this not the first election in recent history when voters have asked themselves this question, but the broader question, is it worth it to voice my opinion, goes back as far as human history itself. This Shabbat, we read about Noah, famous for building an ark and saving humanity from the great flood. Less famous, though just as important, for being Ish Tzaddik Tamim Bidorotav, a righteous man in his generation. Biblical scholars have long debated the meaning of this phrase. Why couldn't Noah have just been called a righteous man? Why add in his generation? Because in the context of other generations, he may not have been considered so righteous. If he had lived in Abraham's time, for example, there would have been no question that Abraham was the righteous one, not Noah. Because Abraham did something that Noah was not capable of. Both men were presented by God with a catastrophe that humanity was about to face. God told Noah there would be a flood and to build an ark. Noah was dutiful. He built the ark. He followed God's precise instructions about who and what to save from the coming devastation. But he never pushed back. He never said, God, why must you destroy humanity this way? Surely there are some good people besides me that you need to save. Or even, God, did you see the good deeds that my neighbor did last week? Did you see the kindness with which the children in a nearby village treat one another? Can't we at least save them? Noah says none of this. He just obeys. And so he is righteous in his generation. Abraham, however, stands up. When God tells him of the impending destruction of the wicked cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, Abraham says, God, will you wipe away the innocent along with the guilty? What if there are 50 innocent people? Then will you save them? And when there weren't 50, Abraham pleads again. What if there are 45? What if there are 40, 30, 20, 10? Again and again and again, Abraham stands up and voices his opinion. Even though he has less power than God, obviously, even though he knows he is very unlikely to win, he voices his opinion. We are descended from Abraham. Many generations later, Moses stands up before Pharaoh to plead the case for the Israelite people to be let free from slavery. He knows he might lose, that Pharaoh will say absolutely not, but he voices his opinion anyway. Esther stands up before King Ahasuerus at great risk to her own life to save the Jewish people. With all of these Jewish biblical heroes, Abraham, Moses, Esther, some of them were successful and some of them were not. But what they have in common is that their chances of success were low, and yet that did not deter them. The mark of a hero is not whether they won or lost, but whether they stood up and made their voices heard. Our people are not called the people of Noah, who acquiesced without making his opinion known. Our people are the people of Abraham, of Moses, of Esther, the people of standing up, win or lose, and voicing our opinion. The reality is that in city elections, voter turnout is generally very low. Some elections across the country have been decided by very narrow margins, fewer than 1,000 votes, and in certain cases, even fewer than 100. That means that every single vote really does matter. It matters in determining the outcome of the election, and it matters because it gives voice to your opinion. Being a U.S. citizen is not just about rights, but about responsibilities, and voting is one of them. Now, lest you think that I am maligning Noah, a righteous man who saved all of humanity, we need to return to his story. Noah may not have been perfect. He did not have the backbone that Abraham had. He was not as good of a person or leader as many of our other biblical heroes. He likely would not have been considered righteous in the context of other generations. But God had to make a choice. Someone had to build an ark and save humanity. The choices were: choose a wicked person, choose a person who is only righteous in the context of his generation, Noah, or choose no one, allowing the world to be destroyed completely. Noah was the best option available. Friends, sometimes we too must choose the best option available. You may be thinking, of course I would vote and make my voice heard like Abraham if there were a candidate I was excited about. I am here to tell you that it is your obligation to participate in democracy by casting a vote, whether you are excited about a candidate or not. There is no perfect candidate, but it is your obligation to determine who will do the best job for this city, or at the very least, the least bad job. You are not choosing the person you want to go out for a drink with or invite over for dinner. You are choosing the person who will run this city. Like God before the flood, you only have the choices you have, and you cannot choose no one. Your job is to pick the best option available. Today, October 25th, is the beginning of the early voting period, which extends until November 2nd. Election Day is November 4th. Polls will be open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. We at PAS are offering help with transportation to the polls for any of our members who anticipate having trouble, and you can reach out to me for more information on that. There are no excuses. And if you want to go one step beyond casting your own vote, you can join us on Tuesday night at 6:30 for text banking with Jewish Voters Unite. We'll send text messages to Jewish New Yorkers reminding them to get out and vote. None of us is exempt from this obligation. There was once an ultra-Orthodox rabbinic leader named the Chazon Ish living in Israel in its early years of statehood. It was election day, and he ran into one of his adult yeshiva students on the street. "Did you vote yet?" inquired the Chazon Ish. "No, I don't have the 3 Israeli pounds to pay the poll tax," the man replied. Exasperated, the Chazon Ish said, "Well, you own a pair of tefillin, right? Tefillin are the boxes one wears each morning during weekday prayers. Go and sell your pair of tefillin and use the funds to pay the poll tax so that you can vote." The man was shocked at the idea of selling his holy objects. The Chazon Ish explained, "If need be, you'll borrow a pair of tefillin. But the election is today, and voting is a mitzvah, a religious obligation." This was the counsel of an ultra-Orthodox rabbi. How lucky are we that we need not pay a poll tax. We need not sell our precious holy items in order to vote. All we have to do is stand up, like our ancestors before us, win or lose, and make our voice heard. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you for joining the Park Avenue Synagogue family. I hope you enjoyed the sermon. Please consider supporting our online community by scanning the QR code or by going to supportpas.org or by making a donation. Shalom, and see you in Shul.